Let's see how well we can get at the end. And 8,000. Hi, Monya.
Salama.
Yes, I'm fine.
I was changing devices.
It's okay.
Long time.
Yeah, long time. long.
Imenipeleka.
Yeah?
Niko na homa imenipeleka.
Kwa wale nilikuwa umeenda kupanda mlima mahali kuna snow. Hata sikujua Kenya kuna snow.
Imagine kunayo.
Hiyo ni area gani? Nyandarua?
No, that's Mount Kenya.
But your home is where?
Nyandarua.
Yeah, I know your home is Nyandarua.
Nilikuwa nimeenda kupanda Mount Kenya.
Uko na video. Si unialike hizo vitu. But I'll die and faint there.
You won't die. You just need preparation.
Yeah, I think with preparation I can try. Unajua vile napenda safari.
You, I know. Napenda masafari na wewe.
Sana. Napenda masafari. Nilirudi Nairobi. Permanently, yeah.
Yeah, you will. Karibu sana.
Asante. You're in Nairobi?
Yes, I am. Okay, I live in
awesome.
the river, but I work in Nairobi.
Awesome. You don't mind commuting. Where?
Studwekwa Expressway.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that is very fast.
Okay.
So you're the one moderating today?
Us. No, I'm not.
Okay.
You'll find out the moderator quite soon.
I know, no worries.
Yeah.
So niko na kierere nimefika mapema. Niko na kierere.
Watu ndio wanaingia Kevin, friend. Kaberia bado ako huko anachapa siasa. Hebu nimwambie aingie awache mambo mingi.
Awache siasa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anasema yeye pia ameforwardiwa.
Ameforwardiwa nini?
Your lineup.
Me, I didn't see a line. There was a lineup. Aki people, what?
There was a lineup.
When do you forward?
I asked him, Mimi, Kaberi alipost kwa groups. So now when everyone else in the lineup amemruka. Hi, sasa. Hi.
Hi, Kevin.
Hello, how are you?
How are you? How are you doing? Okay. And your network has a problem. I'm good, and your network has a problem. Before we start debates, check on your network.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the debate. My official name is Ipora Nyangara Mombi. My preferred name is Zippy. I will be your moderator for today. Thank you so much for honoring the call. I am a Yali alumni, cohort 35. Martha, thank you for getting here on time. I think you're the first person to start to part of this. So I am not sure how many aspirants are there, but there's David Lemoy, Dennis Lubanga, Diana Amondi, the ones that had shown their interest, Dismas, Amasheti, Evans Irungu, Patrick Kaberia, Peter Munuhe, Felix Vulimu, Sheikh Hassan, Francis Jambi, Fred Tunya, Frederick Ochieng, John Mathenge, Martha Akinyi, and Okech. I don't know if we are all here, but in no particular order, I'd like us to introduce ourselves. Kindly remember that our debate is only 90 minutes. I think some of the instructions that I would want to put forward is that one will be able to speak through the moderator. If you need to speak and it's not your turn yet, you could probably raise your hand. The second thing, this debate, we are looking for leadership and honesty. Kindly put forth your deliberations in an honest manner without calling names. And yes, so let's start. So Martha, I'll give us 3 minutes to answer this question. And I think I'll start with Martha, the fact that she was here, the first one. So I'd like to give you 3 minutes. I'll give each of us 3 minutes to introduce yourself. I would like you to introduce yourself in this format. Number 1, who you are, what's your name, who you are, why you believe you're the best candidate for the chairperson, and also give a brief manifesto of what you would want to do for the early chapter. So 3 minutes each. Martha, kindly go ahead.
Thank you, Zipporah. Welcome, everyone. My name is Martha Otieno. I'm a Yali alumni, cohort 4. I'm a community empowerment specialist. I specialize in youth empowerment. I've been doing that for the last 10 years. I am based in Nairobi, but I've worked in several counties in Kenya, and I've always made a point to connect to the early alumni in those counties, namely Nakuru, Kisumu, Kisii, Mombasa, Kwale. Yeah. So the reason why I believe the reason I wanted actually to vie for this position, I was in a recent activity organized late last year in Ngong Hills, and we had this discussion between the older alumni and the younger alumni. So the discussion was the opportunities that the early alumni had, that the conferences we attend, the jobs you were getting, the scholarships, the grants, and the younger alumni, by younger I mean who came in the later cohorts, were really interested in knowing how we were able to get those opportunities. So I asked them, like, for the time that you've been an alumni, what opportunities have you had? And they were like, not much. For them, once they left the early RLC, they probably just network and stuff like that. So I told them, in our days, we used to actually be very particular in what we wanted to achieve. Like as an alumni, we would meet up. And we used to meet with Kinamunywa and would be like, who do we want to connect to? What do we want to do? Do we want to attend a UN conference? Do we want to be among the BBI talks? Do we want to train people in the Kenya Youth Empowerment Project coming up? Like we will discuss those things and literally go and knock those doors. So I told myself, if there's anything I can do now that I'm back in Nairobi full time, why not vie for the chairperson and bring that back? Why can't I? Because the job I do currently is literally that. I try to connect alumni with opportunities and networks. So basically for me, I'll be killing 2 birds with 1 stone. So when I'm knocking a door for my job that I work in, I'll also be doing the same with the alumni. So I remember telling them, I think I can vie for the chairperson and bring that back. And they were very excited. So I was like, I am going to do it. I'm going to do it. I have more experience now since then because I did the alumni. That was in 2016 when I was the Nairobi chapter alumni. So I have more experience. I have the skills. I have created lots of networks. I know a lot of alumni in their own spaces, what they're doing. So that is the reason actually I decided to forward my name for the nomination for the chairperson. My brief manifesto, I've told you why I want to.
1 minute.
Pardon?
You have 1 minute,
Okay,
less than
so
a minute. Okay.
Okay, so I can go ahead with my manifesto. My manifesto is very simple. I remember that time when we were trying to do all these things, we always got hurdles because we were not officially registered. I remember there's a program we did not participate in because we were not well registered. And that's how we started the conversation with Munywa and Tim at that point to do an official registration of the group. The way the registration is, the way the alumni is registered now as a CPO, we might not be able to capture everyone, get everyone an opportunity. So my manifesto is basically to ensure we have such a body, bring in those networks. Right now we have over 1,800 alumni, so use those particular networks to knock those doors and get these opportunities on board. And
Thank
the other thing,
your time is up.
Okay, I think I'll continue in the next. Thank you very much.
Yes, please. So Diana Amondi, kindly go ahead. The same thing. Who are you? Why do you think you're the best candidate for this? And what is your manifesto? Your 3 minutes starts now.
Okay, my name is Diana Amondi Oyugi. Yes, and I'm from Court 41, one of the online courts. And why I believe, why I was passionate about running for this post is how we form, as in how we have before up to, let's say up to last year, late last year, how we've really tried to move the chapter to at least fulfill one promise it made, the former chief of party made to the online court, that of at least attending a one week session at the center in Kenyatta Uni. And it's been a wild goose chase. It's meeting after meeting, but nothing is really materializing. And that's what I realized that that's what I realized that for most of the online courts, we feel like there's a detachment. And it is that detachment that I came in. Maybe that's what is pushing me to vie for this chairman position, believing having such an office, then this unheard, this, let's say, I'll consider them to be marginalized voices, because the online court is a unique court. We weren't as many compared to those who've been offline, and with it we have our unique challenges. And it's like, unless we get a bigger platform, then our voices will not be as heard. So that's the main driving force for going for that post, to just represent adequately the online court votes. And that's why when I come to my manifesto, it's three-tier. It's driven, it's responsiveness. How is the yearly, both the regional RLC and the chapter itself, the national chapter, not the county chapter, responsive to the needs of different alumni. Because we have one, I've talked about mainly the online courts. We have also the courts who are far away. I always follow this conversation on WhatsApp. We have people from Kilifi at least wanting some merchandise, some touch with the center. We have people from Mandera and those far-flung counties feeling out of touch, as in like the center is out of touch with them. So how do we make the center and even the chapter itself responsive to them? That's one tenet of my manifesto. The other one will be inclusiveness, because we want to go on without feeling like we are detached or we are separated or we are kind of different from the rest. How are we going to make our people? That's a driving force. How using that chairman position, it's a position that can really help bringing the people together, bringing all the chapters and all the uniqueness and all that, bringing them together and all of them feeling like they're appreciated. And not unlike now, when most of the online cohorts feel like they're really underappreciated, not even unappreciated, very underappreciated. And the last one is impactful.
Thank you, Diana. Your 3 minutes is up. I am using a timer, that's why. Yeah. Okay, but you still have time to introduce yourself. Kevin Okech, kindly go ahead. Kevin Okech, if you can hear me, kindly introduce yourself, who you are and why you think you're best placed for this position. And probably share your manifesto. Kevin? I can see Kevin is connecting to the audio. As we wait for him to connect to the audio, probably Patrick Kaberia, aka Power, could you kindly introduce yourself, who you are, why you think you're best placed for this position, and kindly in brief highlight your manifesto. Patrick Kaberia, if you can. If you can hear me. Patrick Kaberia. Kevin Okech, are you back? Have you connected to the audio? Okay, then I can see on my screen, Dennis Lubanga. Dennis, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, kindly, using the same format, introduce yourself, who you are, why you believe you're best placed for this position, and highlight your manifesto in brief. Your 3 minutes start now.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. My name is Dennis Lubanga, a Yali alumni, cohort 39, and a business and entrepreneurship track. The main reason why I believe I'm the best candidate for this is because I'm a committed young person, very passionate about youth development and success. You realize that in the current global dispensation, the world is moving at a fast pace that needs people who move in that pace. And the only way we can have this achieved is by investing in young people. My country, Kenya, is lagging behind in terms of development because you realize the government is not really investing in young people, and thus we are using different platforms to ensure this happen. And Yali is such one platform. How am I going to ensure that I engage the young people through the Yali platform to ensure that we improve our development as a country and reach other standards like those greater global economies? One is to ensure that I have Yali alumni registered. By tapping into this idea, you get a clear data of where young people who can achieve a lot as far as development is concerned. You capture their data and you reach out to them so that you are in a position to engage them, talk to them, and have to see what they have and what they can offer to this country as far as development is concerned. Then my second agenda for Yali is to ensure that I increase its visibility. By visibility, it will capture the view or the eyes of those people who want to partner with us so that we can move this agenda forward. My third agenda for Yali Alumni Chapter of Kenya is to ensure we have accountability and transparency. You realize most young people in this country, only thing they want is information. By information, and you all know that information is power. If we hide information to young people, then it means you deny them the power to do what they want. So by transparency and accountability, you release all the information that are needed by these young people so that they can now engage together. They can know where this chapter is and they move forward swiftly. Then my fourth agenda is to ensure that we have this global touch. We have to work together with other like-minded organizations in the world so that we are at par with the rest of the economies. We can work with the Youth Advisory Council in Africa. We can work with other like UN Youth Envoy so that we are at par with them.
Thank you, Dennis. Your time is up. So I think Kevin Okech, can you hear me now? Kindly unmute. You are muted. Kindly unmute.
Yes, I can hear you, please.
Okay, kindly introduce yourself and why you believe you are
Hello?
best. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yes, kindly introduce yourself, why you believe you're fit for this position, and highlight your manifesto. Your 3 minutes start now.
Well, thank you very much. My name is Kevin Okech. I hold a Master's of Science degree in Artificial Intelligence Engineering course from
Kevin, I am not sure, but I think your internet connection has issues.
I am passionate about
You keep on
leadership.
Kevin, go ahead, although your internet seems to have issue. Unmute. We cannot hear you, you're muted. We still cannot hear
Can you hear me?
Yes, but you keep on breaking. So that I am fair to you, is it possible that you work on your internet and then you can come back and introduce yourself? So, okay, so we've had Martha, Diana, and Dennis introducing themselves. Seemingly, Kevin's connection has issues. So I'd like to ask John Mathenge to introduce who he is and present his manifesto to the people.
Thank you very much, and
Yes,
I'm glad
John, go
for the
ahead.
opportunity to speak to alumni. Kindly confirm whether my audio is clear, loud and clear.
Yes,
Zipporah?
it is. Go ahead.
Thank you
Yes,
very
it
much.
is. Go ahead.
My name is John Mathenge, born and raised in Laikipia County, currently living in Nairobi because of work proximities. I am a holder or I've trained in clinical medicine and surgery, and currently working at a palliative care center called Trinity. I have also done IREX training, teacher training, whereby I'm a certified British Council IREX trainer via a company called Absolute Consultancy Services. So I have, in terms of leadership and why I am best suited to be the next year chairperson, number one, it comes from a leadership journey. I believe I have what, according to great man's theory, in definition of who is a leader is. I have born-in qualities of leadership and well-acquired leadership skills, maybe from trainings like Kiari. And I have gone on a journey of leadership, starting from primary, high school and all that, to becoming an elected chairperson of Students' Representative Council consequently. You understand when you're elected first, and then you perform very well exemplary, the student found it fit to elect me for a second term. So my entire college life, I didn't know any other life. I knew the life of a leader as the chairperson. Then from there, I formed a union just to agitate the interest of medical interns called Kenya Clinical Officers Interns, with a lot of breakthroughs in activism, whereby until today, we won the case against the government for the first time and agitated for the interest of medical interns to the office of the Deputy President, to the Minister of Health, etc. Now, I am a member of various youthful engagement groups, and I am the chairperson of alumni, what we call alumni engagement program, led by people from people from Yali and other forums, that was created by Dedan Kimathi University and US, supported by USAID and Cultural Vista, whereby I am the chairperson of Uasin Gishu County. Besides that, I courageously fought as Member of Parliament, Laikipia West in 2022, though the zoning effect took its place and I didn't go to the ballot. Now, I want to share 4 points on what I shall do for Yali. And I want to demonstrate on what Yali is. Remember, Yali was created by the 46th president of USA.
John, your time is up. We may not be able to hear your manifesto.
Thank you.
Your time is up.
Thank you.
Probably you will highlight it as you continue with the debate. Next in line is Fred Tunya. Kindly, Fred Tunya, introduce yourself, why you believe you're best fit for this position, and highlight your manifesto. Your 3 minutes start now.
Well, thank you very much, Zippy, and a very great and good evening to each and every alumni. It is good to see you tuned in and listening to your leaders, a true testament that you absolutely interested in the right leadership. My name is Fred Tunya. A seasoned corporate communications practitioner with background in public policy, as well as also having a lot of interest in management. I hope you can hear me. Please confirm kindly.
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Fred Tunya is a managing partner at Sifa Urban, where we catalyze growth, and our very interest is to impact lives and put people first. I currently serve as the communications lead for Yali RLC, the Kenya chapter, where my work for the last 2 years has been to walk with you this journey, to work for you, serve you, and we have for sure together transform our brand and even the visibility of the Kenya chapter. I for sure present my candidature to you, ladies and gentlemen, for the position of chairman. It is my hope, and indeed it is an opportunity to even revitalize our brand, put our chapter on the best and the very informed journey. It is time for us to monetize our chapter. The profit-making path is the biggest way out of this. And for sure, I believe that if we are putting very strategic structures in place, then alumni come first. We have a mandate to include everyone in our journey and in our manifesto moving forward. Thank you so much, Zippy.
Thank you so much, Fred, for that. Power, Kaberia, can you hear me, please? Kindly go ahead and introduce yourself. Patrick Kaberia, can you hear me? Okay. If you cannot hear me, or if you're unable to unmute your microphone, I'd like to give Kevin Okech a second chance. Your internet had issues, so kindly, if you can at the moment, introduce yourself and who you are. Kevin? Kevin Okech, we cannot hear you. Kevin Okech, we cannot hear you. Patrick Kaberia, I see you back. Are you able to unmute yourself?
Yes.
Yes, so go ahead, please. Kindly introduce yourself, and I think we would like to see you. If you can, kindly also put your video on. Introduce yourself, your name, who you are, why you believe you're best suited for this position, and kindly, in brief, give your manifesto. You have 3 minutes for that.
Thank you. My name is Patrick Kaberia, a seasoned leader, a fellow of the Yali Alumni Association, cohort 16. I present to you my candidature as the chairperson for the Yearly Alumni Association. I am an ICT professional, and I'm also a practicing agribusiness champion. I am the director of Power Africa, a civil society organization agitating for the human rights, social justice, and the socio-economic empowerment of the people. I am very much conversant with the issues concerning Yali, and I have done in-depth analysis of how we can harness alumni associations to empower its members, and also to sustain the alma mater, which is the Yali RLC. Currently, Yali operates on a conditional grant expiring in the next 5 years, and the future of Yali and the training is uncertain. That places Yali alumni, who are the beneficiaries of the program, at the center of interest in sustaining the RLC and the training. In doing so, I'm presenting myself to be able to champion for change Yali Alumni Association, in as far as it's concerned, remains unstructured, with very poor governance and with no sustainability measures. I'm thus presenting an opportunity for the leaders to have a chance to experience my leadership in enhancing the strategic planning, reorganization, registration of members, registration of the alumni association, so that it can better be able to accommodate more leaders in its structure and bring in more talents and ideas into the management of the association for sustainability. I wish to end there so that I give my next colleague an opportunity to proceed. I donate my remaining seconds to the next speaker.
Thank you, Kaberia, for donating your time. We'll sure keep that. So but I think I'll start now with the questions. Thank you all for introducing yourselves. And I think at the center stage of this campaign has been the... Yes, Kevin, are you back?
Yes, I am back. I wish to take the shortest time to introduce myself.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. Introduce yourself. Your 3 minutes start now, and you have, I think, around 20 minutes. 2 seconds, yes?
Well, thank you very much for this debate, and thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. My name is Kevin Okech. I hold a Master of Science degree in Artificial Intelligence from Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology. I am presenting myself for the position of the chairperson of the Yali Kenyan Alumni Chapter, not because I feel I am the best candidate, but because I feel that we are all leaders, and through my leadership, we are going to work together with other alumni in delivering my manifesto. I don't believe that I am going to lead, but I believe that we are all leaders and we are all going to lead. I am only going to give direction to my fellow alumni, because through this seat, we have very many untapped opportunities. My manifesto speaks very much on alumni-driven ideas. My first idea that I wish to present is the issue of bringing up on board a Yali welfare, where we can also support our alumni who are facing difficulties and hurdles wherever they are, through a task force which was a special task force that we're going to select with my office. My second point goes to the issue of what I call the Linda Yali program, which intends to revisit the issue of opening all the Yali regional offices. And through my leadership, I am going to ensure that the ICT gadgets are installed in all those offices that I am going to, which I am going to use my networks to get, so that those offices can be operational And I also promised alumni to get free tablets, whereby they're going to use these tablets to air their transformational stories to the world, so that the world can know what Yali does. The other key thing that I give credit is the issue of having alumni-driven annual general meetings where we shall be meeting and holding celebrations. And in those celebrations, we shall be awarding alumni, best performing alumni based on reviews done by all alumni in different I want to also crown it all by saying I sit in a number of boards nationally, and I have this necessary network that can actually be able to catapult the early association to a greater level. I am going to work with all the leaders who are vying, irrespective of whoever will win or not, ensuring that our manifesto is aligned to all the other manifestos, so that we deliver a Yali that is workable, a Yali that is going to deliver our people, a Yali that is going to be the key hem of ensuring that we have true transformational stories running through the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I believe all the candidates present have introduced themselves. So at the center of this debate and at the center of the campaign has been the issue of Yali association registration. So I think I'll start with Patrick Kaberia. What do you think in the current, how do you think the current and even
Excuse
the
past your audio is not clear.
You're not clear.
You're breaking up.
Can you, the rest?
You're breaking up, Zipporah.
Okay. So
I can see you, but you're still breaking up.
I think now it's clear.
Yeah.
Okay. So at the center stage of this campaign has been the issue of the Yali association registration. So do you think the current and the past regime has failed? What are you going to do? 2 minutes to answer this question. And I think I'd like to start with Patrick Kaberia, then Martha Otieno, then John Mathenge. Kindly go ahead and your 2 minutes start now. Patrick.
Thank you, Zipporah. The issue of registration of the Alumni Association has remained as a secret tool for the various leaders to continue operating Yali Alumni as a private entity. It has been said here and everywhere that our current officials, who are also part of our competitors, have actually sabotaged this issue of registration, ignoring the interest of the growing number, which is currently at more than 1,800, to operate as 4 directors. So they have turned the Yali Alumni Association into a cartel system, oblivious of the principles of Yali that requires us to operate in an open, transparent manner. What I'm going to do about the registration is to approach the laws of the country and the regulations of the RLC from the formation and involve all members to have a concrete constitution and to have the association registered and incorporate especially all the candidates participating in this election and the members into the management of this association, because no one is bigger than the other in this Yali. We have our colleagues, our competitors who have made it very clear that it is either them or the highway for all of us. And I'm saying this is a big no. We are going to have this alumni registered and we'll have a 10-year strategic plan. We'll have a constitution. We'll have the members at the center of the operations of the yearly alumni association. This is my first priority. They have said that it is not possible.
Thank you, Kaberia. Thank you, Kaberia. Your 2 minutes are out. Yes, Martha, kindly go ahead.
Thank you very much, Zipporah. My main agenda is for the fundraising for the alumni body lies on having an association, because fundraising for a CBO will not be able to give us what we need for all the 1,800 alumni. So as I said, I was the pioneer of this conversation when I was the Nairobi chapter lead. So I had Munywa was able to address this issue, because I asked him, like, why did they register a CBO and not an association in the first place? So he was able to explain to us that first they needed a lot of documents from them. At the same time, the name had an issue. At the same time, they had a time limit of they had a time limitation, and that time applying for association will take them 6 months. So I was able to approach some of our alumni who are doing capacity building for organizations, and they were able to do some kind of background on how we can register the alumni as an association with the least hurdles. So it is possible, even from the ones who've tried, Akina Munywa, and we hope to do that in the first 6 months of the once I'm in office, is to be able to finalize what they had begun. Currently, as we heard from the RLC, the organization Yearly Alumni is registered as a CBO, and so that means we first have to revoke the registration of a CBO and re-register it again as an association. We have justification because as a CBO, you can only do it's localized, but association, we can accommodate 1,800. So I plan to work with the alumni that are in that space to finalize that registration.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And while still at that, there's a question specifically for you. So Martha, you have said you have previously served Nairobi County chapter as the chair, and now you are vying for the national chapter. And one of the things that you want to do is register the national chapter as an association. During your tenure, did you manage to register the county chapter? And if so, how did you register it? If not, why? And how were you operating? In 1 minute, kindly answer that question.
Thank you very much. As I said, I was the pioneer of that conversation when I was the Nairobi chapter. I worked very closely with the country chapter. At that point, it was Munywa who was in charge. We had a lot of meetings, and that is when what we could do at that point was register the counties. The counties could do CBO, and the country chapter could do the association, but that did not pan out. So, and because we also had a very short time, and that means that for people wanted to get the TF fund. So, and we did not qualify. So the other organizations went and did a CBO, but that was after my tenure. So all this finalization of the registrations was done after my tenure was over. So that's why at that point, registrations were just beginning. It had not been actualized.
Okay, so in your tenure, what I've heard is that you were not able to register the CBO in your tenure as the chairperson of Nairobi County.
Yes, that is when the conversation had begun. When in my tenure is when the conversation had begun, and formation of all the documents that were needed for registration.
Okay, thank you. So John, go ahead and answer the question. Do you think the current and the past regime has failed? And how are you going to do things differently? Your 2 minutes start now.
Just to be fair to them, whether they failed or not, of course they tried with how they thought it was right to do things and registered a CBO. But we look at this way, even the definition of an association, which is guaranteed in our constitution. An association is a group of people who have same interest, common goals, which you're after. If you look at YARI, we have the same training. Here at RLC, everybody have a common ground in terms of training. Number two, we have the same aspiration according to the authors of YARI, of which was to rejuvenate energies of young people, for our generation and generations to come. Now, when you come to CBO, it is more of community-based, and that's why it's called community-based organizations at the grassroots down there. But you cannot, and the interest of a certain community. So the interest of people who are in Nyanza, it could be different from interest of people who are in course in terms of the community you are serving, not interest of the alumni themselves, because we have the common interest. Now, when you come to association, of course, our former chairman, who I respect so much, talked about time and some hard work in registering an association. But there are examples of associations in Kenya. We have Kenya Medical Association. I am a member of Kenya Clinical Officers Association, whereby that group, we do a lot of things. Let me tell you, you cannot do even investments. You can never see a house written YALI Alumni CBO. But you can see Kenya Medical Association building in Nairobi, in the center of Nairobi. We cannot do national league level investments as CBO. And the fact that whether it takes 1 year, 6 months, or whatever, never take an excuse because of time.
Thank you. Your time is up.
And I shall register an association.
Thank you, John. Your time is up. Dennis Lubanga, kindly go ahead.
Thank you, ZP, for this opportunity once again. Whether I have to be fair or not, I think the best thing is to be fair to the current regime to register this organization. The only thing that I feel did not go well is they did not communicate this registration of this CBO, thus bringing out a lot of questions to the members. And another thing, if you register a CBO, then you need to have a list of members. You need to have a list of, as Jonas said, those are people with vested interest in that organization. Where is the list of these people and how do you communicate with them? Do you even have the minutes of the meetings that you've discussed certain issues before you do the review to ask ourselves? But then again, YALI in itself was intended to help us, was intended to nurture us so that we can go to the community and help the community, as opposed to nurturing leaders to go back and help YALI, because that is where we go wrong. We need to go and help the community. And in this case, I came up with a solution for this. I have proposed two procedures upon which we will have our members registered. Number one, whenever we have a group or a cohort that has graduated, you already have their list. You have their contacts and their emails. Immediately, you need to communicate with them and register them. We can propose certain amounts because we have to pay for this organization to have that sense of ownership. If we don't pay, we do not have the ownership. People will just graduate and leave as long as they have the certificate. And that is what I feel it's making us feel disengaged. Number two, we have those people I can call in quotes, friends of YALI, people who are very much interested in joining YALI, but they have not.
Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Dennis. Dennis, your time is up. I think I'd like to ask Kevin. Oh, Diana, I see you unmuted. Kindly go ahead and answer the question.
Proceed from the running thread that registering YALI as a CBO was definitely a letdown, and it's mostly a letdown because of the limitations of a CBO, and even mostly of the available knowledge within the YALI community. If the same had been muted earlier or passed to the YALI community, I'm sure that those who are equipped to address best on which form of registration the YALI alumni should have taken. And this also about one of the limitations of maybe the current and the past. It's like they haven't been engaging. Do we reach out to other members who may be having knowledge in specific areas to guide us before we make a decision? The decision making before the limited committee or something like that. Do we reach out to the community to gather their information, their take, and also to tap into their knowledge before we go on. That's one. The last one is on the urgency of time. We can't really use that as justification. Whatever needed to be done at whatever time is limited. I believe a long time for any kind of registration to take place. So having this instant mentality, like there's the urgency of time, we want to now and I believe that is something that should be improved going forward.
Okay, thank you, Diana. And probably you could also check on your sounds for the next question. I'd like to ask Kevin Okech to answer the question. Kevin? Kevin, kindly unmute and answer the question.
Oh, sorry for that. Thank you very much. Are you hearing me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, thank you very much for the question. I would want to submit that I wouldn't feel that it is fair to say that those in office really failed. What I would say is that maybe there was no getting in touch. There was no the better means of getting in touch with the alumni to tell them why it was registered as a CBU and why it was hard to maybe register it as an association. What I'm going to do as if elected would be first of all to sit down with the RLCA, which is the biggest partner for Yali alumni, so that we could actually try and sit down and look at the possibilities and the impossibilities as far as this registration is concerned, and also the technicalities, so that at the end of it, when we're going to register it as an association, we have already done what I would call, we've collected views from the alumni, we collected views from Yali RLCA, so that and in the end, everybody is a participant in the final registration of this very useful association. Thank you very much. I donate my time to my colleagues.
Thank you so much, Okech, for that. And I think there are some questions that are coming in, and they have been directed to Kaberia. Kaberia, could you kindly answer, do you have evidence of how the current leadership has turned Yali into a cartel thing? You mentioned at some point that the Secretariat, they're using the tool for personal use. And the second question is, Kaberia, you have eloquently said that we need to operate in a transparent manner, yet you created an office called Coordinator Yali Alumni, which of the office nor the alumni body are not aware. You sent emails, and up to now, we do not know the response to those emails. What transparency are you talking about? Probably, Kaberia, you could answer the two questions.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you very much for the question. Number one, I have been a close friend to the outgoing officials. I have been working alongside them since the election in 2021, and I have been supporting even the previous officials of Munywa, which I ran against him in 2019, and I considered defeat, but decided to support him to accomplish the work. I also supported the current leadership led by the chairperson, and along the way, they developed, one of the officials secluded the others and took advantage of their location, especially the chairperson was located in Bungoma. Specifically, Fred Tunya was operating as the chairperson. He started abusing the office.
Patrick, kindly, before you go ahead, do you have evidence of that? Because like we said initially, we want to work with evidence. Do you have evidence that the current chair was sidelined and that Fred Tunya took up the responsibility and decided to open the CBO?
Yes, and this is what I wanted to bring out. that number one, in consultation with the chairperson, I personally, with the permission of the chairperson, engage with the administration of the center with an aim of registering yearly alumni as an association and to bring in the members in the association so that it can operate in an organized way. Along the way, and Fred will confirm that he personally sabotaged that process, went ahead to register that CBO, and he is now claiming that I assigned myself the position of a coordinator. This is a position that I requested the chairperson, because he was away. I requested him that he allocate me the position so that I could be able to follow up on issues when he's away, when he's far, because he was not able to come to Nairobi or to follow up on those issues at the center. The same was, I communicated the same with the center, USA, and they have no problem with us. The same way, today you are coordinating us in this WhatsApp, in this meeting. This is not an elective position you are holding, you are coordinating. This is a temporary position. The coordination that I took was voluntary coordination of the operations, because I'm a loyalist of Yali, and my intention was very clear, was to have Yali Alumni Association registered. Fred will confirm that when he found that we are going to register, I even have correspondences where I requested us to be supplied with the letter of no objection to register the association. He himself went to the center and blocked, and in the process registered the CBO. This CBO is today the point of contention.
Thank you, Kaberia, for that. I'd like to invite Fred to come in. And before that, I think, Kaberia, we had mentioned, and in one of the chats, that we'd mentioned that you would provide the evidence, that you have not yet provided the evidence. But before that, and before we start throwing words at each other, I'd like to invite Fred to kindly share. You are the incumbent in this campaign, and I'd like you to share. What do you think? Do you think the present and the former regime has failed? And if elected, what do you think you're going to do differently? And while at that, probably you could also answer towards the allegations and the statements that Kaberia has made. Your minutes start now.
All right, thank you so much, Zippy, for the opportunity to provide clarity and, of course, justify some important accusations here. This could be a great debate if then we don't accuse people or candidates for things that are not true and things that are not actual. There is a sitting chairperson who is in charge of the chapter. This chairperson cannot in any way appoint an executive to do the role that he was elected to do. Unfortunately, this is the first time I'm hearing my competitor mentioning that he was given that role by the chairperson. I don't want to dwell on that. I want to answer the questions that you asked. The issue of registration is a very, very critical issue. It is an issue that is not coming out today. It is not coming out now. It is an issue that has been coming up each and every election period. It has been a major challenge for the previous office and those who came before them to register a legal recognized entity. When we came to office, we inherited a process that was in place. And the previous administration has always made it clear that they started the CBO registration way back. When we came to office, it was during that period it was during that period that we made a very difficult decision. And that decision was informed by one, that the chapter needed to have a legal entity to be able to seek, apply, and receive funding. We could not operate because the chapter was a chapter by name, but not by legal registration. The time that was available when we came to office was sometime between 1 to 2 months for the disbursement of the first transformation fund. We moved in under the leadership of Linus Ikochel, who is a signatory. A CBO cannot belong to one person. This chapter has very intelligent alumni who understands that as an organization do not belong to one person. The chairperson provided guidance and leadership. We registered a CBO at a time that we could not go back to alumni and seek approval with name, suggestion of name, putting together of a constitution, getting all the signatories of at least 1,000 alumni. The best decision as leaders, because as leaders, you have to go an extra mile and make very important decisions which are important to run an organization. You are elected to represent. Without representation, you're not acting. And I just want to provide clarity so that it goes down in record that the decision to register CBO was written when we got to the office and we wanted to procure several equipments that we already have today, like the podcast equipments, like the magazine supplier. All these were very important. Zipporah and each and every alumni need to understand that Fred Tuna cannot, he has no mandate or authority to decide and register CBO minus the other executive members. The decision we made was a tough decision. We did not communicate to the rest of alumni within the specified time because the organization that was implementing YALI that time was called Deloitte. Deloitte, one of their policies was that they do not allow any money to be sent to a chapter. So the chapter leadership had a mandate to register CBO so that we can be able to recruit suppliers who are still alumni to supply us with computers, with equipment at the podcast, with stationaries. But the most important thing that alumni need to understand around the registration of an association is one, the association cannot be registered with the name YALI. It is an issue that it is not coming up today, and it is not.
And Fred, kindly start winding up on the same because of your time. I had added you an extra minute. Yes.
Let me put that clear so that alumni are not lied to and candidates do not come up to put different picture, and when they get to office, they are not able to fully implement this that they say in their manifesto. The best way to register a YALI association is by first, if you look at my manifesto, we promote what we call a 50% open policy approval. This one works this way. We are only able to let alumni understand that we cannot use the brand name YALI, which has been communicated severally over and over again. What is the way around this? It is not about lying that we will register YALI association. People need to forget about this. And as I finalize on this, I
Thank you, Fred.
need to moderate this session where there are no There are no baseless attacks. We just need to sell our manifesto and provide clarity and talk to alumni who are also experts who understand these things. Fred Tunya, for the record and for the last time, cannot sabotage anything as a person. I am just a communications lead. These candidates need to understand even how an organization works.
Thank you, Fred. Thank you, Fred, for that. And I've taken note of that. There's a question that is directed towards you. What is the serious challenge that the previous office faced and escalated to your tenure that impeded the association registration?
Very well. That is the perfect question ever. And I will provide this clarity and respond this way. The previous office did their work. Number one, they were not able to register any entity, legal entity recognized. But they started the process. When we came in as officials, we decided to contribute amongst ourselves the 5,000 and registered a CBO temporarily to allow us access the funding that could enable the chapter to move. For instance, to purchase equipments, to make things work. Number two, we inherited a foundation that was registered by the previous team. People and alumni need to understand that sometimes you don't need, it's not only an association that can be registered so that you can be functional. Even a foundation is a very, very vital legal entity that can still accommodate all alumni. What we have done up to now is that we have started the process of restructuring the very foundation that was registered by the previous office bearers. But at some point, the foundation did not peak. It wasn't operational because one of our alumni passed on, who was a signatory. So what we have done as the current office bearers and Fred Tunya as a signatory, among other signatories, is to put on hold any operations of the CBO because we understand the limitations of the CBO. But as leaders, we needed to take this important and very difficult decision to have an entity that could facilitate most of our operations. The foundation is the way to go. An association.
Thank you, Fred.
But the name,
thank you, Fred.
The name is the Thank you.
Thank you, Fred, for that. I have seen a comment that you do not need 5,000 to register as a CBO. It's 500, just to put it out there. I'd like to say that that is false. For the purpose of registration, the first time you register a CBO, it's 5,000 shillings as per the last mandate. So I also believe that as we are putting on statements here, kindly let them be true statements that we can actually even give evidence towards that. I've also seen comments in the terms of the issues of campaigning, that we allow people to campaign and not have personal attacks towards each other. And I believe that's the case. I'll go to the third question. And I think I also saw David as part of this. Thank you, David, for joining in. I'll allow you to introduce yourself as time goes by, but probably in a nutshell, you could introduce yourself. I'll not give you 3 minutes because you are late and we are way past time, but you could introduce yourself, who you are, and in brief, 2 minutes, give the manifesto that you want to share to the people. Thank you. Go ahead, your 2 minutes starts now.
Thank you, Zipporah, for this moderation. First is to apologize for coming late. I was on a transit and unfortunate, I had prepared my mind that the interview begins at 8. So having said that, allow me to proceed and introduce myself. So my name is David Lelimoy Tuitoek, cohort 41, public management track. Also the director with Endo Rice Welfare Council, an indigenous community NGO. I'm also at the National Secretariat for a caucus of professionals from ethnic minority and marginalized community in Kenya. I'm also a compliance officer with the defunct Nairobi Metropolitan Service. And my brief manifesto is under 3 pillars. One is the automation of yearly alumni operation by having what we call a proactive and a very comprehensive constitution that, number one, responds to our aspiration, responds to our governance structures, and many other things. The other second manifesto is simply as the chairperson mandated to really foresee and guide the operation of other committee, enhance what we call capacity building. This is to make sure that different committees are properly constituted, they are also up to the task, and if they have any challenge in terms of achieving their mandate, it is my intervention and my duty to help and provide assistance. And the third is the very crucial, is that in the spirit of creating an inclusion from the spirit at the county level, we shall have a project catalog that simply tells the role of the alumni.
Thank you, David. Thank you, David. Your time is up. Okay, so I want to ask us the third question, that apart from the promises that you've given in the manifesto, apart from the things that you say you are going to do, what are some of the things that you have done at the county level or the national level that portrays you as a leader? And by this, I mean specifically to the Yali Alumni chapter, whether at the county level or at the national level. What is it that you have done previously that has shown your leadership skills? So I think I'll start with Kevin Okech. Kevin, kindly unmute and share what you've done. I'll give us 1 minute each for this. Kevin, you are muted. We can only see some white, I think it's your teeth or something, but kindly unmute. I'll give you 1 minute.
Thank you very much. I don't know if you're getting me.
Yes, we can. Your 1 minute.
Thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much. I have done a number of things to both alumni and my general community. I have been distributing sanitary towels to most of the schools in Migori County, and also nationally. I have been rescue centers in Nairobi. I have been doing this to many organizations based on request basis. I've also during the COVID-19 pandemic, I did a number of things distributing food stuff to the whole country. I also did a number of distribution of face masks and bar soaps and a number of things. I've also been doing sensitization on sexual and reproductive health rights across the country. I am not limited to that my county. Oh, sorry about that. I don't know whether you're now getting well or yes, just as I was saying, fellow leaders, I have been doing a number of transformational activities throughout the country, not only in my county of Migori. I have been distributing sanitary towels to most schools and to the young mothers in the villages.
Thank you, Kevin. Your time is up. Your audio seems to have issues. If you can kindly work on it. Diana, what have you done in the county chapter and the national chapter, apart from the promises that you give the people?
Okay, specifically and restricting myself to the yearly activities, I
participated
in the LTS, the third one that happened at the Kenya School of Government. and I attended all the 2 sessions to the two-day event. And I have also partly participated in the county chapter activities of Nakuru. Not all of them, but the activities that I've been able to participate, I have participated in them. And then also, while running my project in Naivasha, the Manipa Kenya project, I made sure that I at least promoted Ayali alumni when it came to sourcing for merchandise and t-shirts and all that. And I took my business to Ayali alumni as a way of building a fellow Ayali alumni. So restricting myself mainly to what I have done in Yali, I could summarize them into those 3. And for the benefit of time, that will be enough.
Thank you, that. Members, kindly restrict your answers to Yali. That's what we want to do. Okay, David, kindly go ahead. What have you done for the county and at the national level that portrays your leadership skills? Your 1 minute start now.
I don't confirm whether you can hear from my end clearly because you're breaking.
Yes.
All right. Thank you for that great question. So I have done around 3 critical things. One, at the county level, we have brought all the alumni on board on a common platform, and we have actively participated in community policing. And I think this could be the only county that presented 2 candidates in the national election, simply because we believe in ourselves. We are among the people who are financing each other. It is the county that has the current PS for the first time in history of Kenya. We have Honorable Sylvia Museya with the PS for tourism. That is one from the county level.
Thank you, David. We are working with time, so your time is up. Kindly, participants, and
kindly allow me to just 30 minutes, 30 seconds, 30 seconds, please. Just a minute. Yeah, at the national level, I have participated in all yearly activity, and to be precise, I participated as a panelist under Wild Tales in KSG. And I think that is something not just for me to say, but it can also be substantiated. Thank you.
Thank you, David, for that matter.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Zipporah. As the Nairobi chapter lead, I was able to put us in the BBI conversations. We were able to join the Peace and Governance NGO network in Kenya. We were able to join up, we were able to go around with the country team, visiting county chapters. We were able to do international events with the government. One of them was the Peace International. We were able to have speakers in the conference that organized by the UN. We were able to have exchange programs with other counties. Recently, that was when I was the county chapter. Recently, I have been able to offer consultancy jobs to alumni. Where I work, the person training entrepreneurship is an alumni. I've been able to do, in Nakuru, I was able to be a speaker in one of their events. It was on gender. In Kisii, I was also invited as a speaker in one of the events that they were doing. In Kisii, I was also able to offer employment in the project that I was running to the Yali alumni. I worked with Asha there. And in Kwale, I was also able to connect with Heidi. She was working in government project. Yeah, so a lot of things that I've done.
I've added you more. Second, it seems that you've done quite a lot, and you can even remember the names of the alumni that you worked with. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Okay, I see Patrick career. What have you done apart from this? And kindly know the question is from the promises that what you are going to. How have you participated and what have you done in the chapter that either at the council or the national level that portrays?
You're breaking up, Zipporah.
Can you hear me?
You're breaking up.
You're still breaking.
Okay, so allow me to ask while my video is muted. So apart from the promises, okay, I think that's better. So the question is, apart from the promises that of what you're going to do if elected as the chair, what have you done at the chapter, either at the county or the national level, that portrays you as a leader? So Patrick Kaberia, kindly go ahead. Patrick, unmute, please.
Thank you, Zipporah. That's a very beautiful question. And the members will bear me witness that I am the person behind the petition to Parliament concerning registration, activation, and engagement of alumni associations, which is going to unlock this same deadlock that we have been talking here about registration. The petition is in its Parliament, and I have shared the link, and it is something that is going to be resolved so that alumni associations enjoy the freedom and the rights as per the Constitution of Kenya, Chapter 4. Number 2, I have actively participated in mentoring, assisting, and mobilizing candidates to participate in the yearly leadership training. That is one project that I am very proud of. Number 3, I have, and the members will bear me witness, I have been training and mentoring yearly alumni alongside others in entrepreneurship, grant funding, and empowering them to be able to get funding for their businesses and projects. And lastly, in relation to yearly, I want to go on the record as being the initiator of this big conversation and unearthing these issues that we are now conversing around, which I consider to be very important in the conversation of yearly going forward. So members, as the initiator of this conversation and unearthing these issues.
Okay. Thank you, Patrick. So, okay. I'd like to recognize Francis Mutaki. You are here. I think you will answer this question as you introduce yourself at some certain points. So just hold on. I will answer the question. Dennis Lubanga, your 1 minute starts now.
Okay, thank you, Zipporah, for this opportunity once again.
Just try to keep your mic, the video off. Clarity, Mother, please.
The video.
Zipporah, for clarity, for us to hear your submission clearly, kindly put your video off.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, Dennis, go ahead.
Okay, thank you for this opportunity once again. The question is very good and pertinent to this debate. Now, as a leader that I want to be in the national level, there are 4 aspects that I've done in relation to helping yearly. Number 1, during the International Women's Day that took place in Kajiado, I offered myself as a volunteer for resource mobilization team, where I worked closely with Caroline Munge to offer ideas on how we can make this day a success. Then number 2, during the Kenyatta University Innovation Week, I was there physically to sell the ideas about yearly, where we worked with Job Munganya, among others, so that we can tell people of what yearly is about. Then number 3, during the 4th Youth Summit, which unfortunately was postponed, I was there. I even brought in a Twitter influencer when I saw things were going down in terms of members participating. I brought in a Twitter influencer who is a friend of mine to help to market this idea. Then lastly, I offered myself in Nakuru County, working with Joseph, to talk to prospective yearly alumni candidates. Pardon? Okay, in Nakuru County, I work.
Dennis, you are saying something. You're talking about the Nakuru chapter.
Yes,
kindly just finish
yes.
statements.
Yes, I've been disrupted here, please. So what I'm saying, I worked closely with Josek. He organized for an information session about those individuals who wished to apply to become Yali alumni. And I volunteered to go and talk to them about how the process goes, how they can have successful applications, and everything was a success. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Dennis. John Mathenge, what are some of the things that you have done to portray you as a leader?
Okay, thank you very much, Zipporah, for the opportunity. One, I am a member of Laikipia County Yali team led by my brother David. So where you hear that we have produced a PS from that area. Number two, I was a member of BBI reviewer on health matters, or when Yali was submitting the issues. I was also a volunteer for Yali, a reviewer for applications for Yali. Maybe the cohorts that have come along, maybe some of them are there courtesy of the approval applications from Mathenge. I have attended numerous Yali activities, including YLTS, the third YLTS, online sessions organized by Yali alumni, GBV, mentor issues, and I've attended mentorship programs in KU. Individually, as an IREX tutor, I have actually trained Yali members who sometimes they don't have cash. They came to me, I trained them for free, and today they are abroad working there. Also, not only actively engaged on what other Yali have planned, I have also planned an activity, especially in Gong, and invited the Yali alumni to come, especially Job came, where RLC leadership and USAID came for that activity that happened in Gong. If you allow me, I don't know whether the donated time will be given now.
Thank you, John. We do not have time. I've actually added you more seconds. I think, Fred, what portrays you as a leader? Fred, kindly unmute.
Well, thank you so much, Zipporah, again for this chance, and of course for all alumni who have made that time to join this debate. My track record speaks for itself as a young person who has gone out of his way to not only impact other people's lives, but also to see others succeed. But I need to make it also available for the records that I commenced from Yali RLC in 2016 as a cohort 8. But way back in 2019, I used to co-own a briquette factory which was producing briquettes for clean energy. And I remember the then leadership of the chapter came and visited my plant somewhere in Riwa, Homa Bay County. This enough shows that my work is not only to provide opportunities for other people, but I'm also building dreams each and every step of the way. Even though the company went under, today you have seen that through the initiatives that I have started, like the podcast, for instance, those alumni who've been on that platform, for the record, there are even 2 who have received or who are currently employed with very good remuneration. I created the platform. It was not about Fred Tunya. I create platform and give others opportunity to thrive. Look at the events that we've been planning. I'm just in the communications docket, but you can tell that across this time, I have been practically available to make sure that Yali alumni activities are happening and there's impact and there's a documentation. My leadership—
Fred, your time is up. Your
No.
time is up. Thank you for that. So I think Fred has, we have Frances joining in. Frances, if you can hear me, kindly unmute, introduce yourself, and probably answer, because you are late for the debate, answer the question, the leadership skills that you have at the county level, the things that you've done at the county level and a national level that portrays you as a leader. Frances, I'll give you 2 minutes to answer this.
All right, thank you very much. I'll use the 2 minutes optimally. My name is Frances Jambi Mutahi. I was in cohort 37 and 38. That is the first online cohort that we had. I was in the public management track, and I'm currently in public service, and the yearly experience has really helped in that. So I have a 4-point agenda manifesto, which is based on the 3 tracks, the 3 main tracks that we have, and the other additional tracks we have, like the yearly DAO. I am looking at creating an investment initiative where yearly alumni get to invest in other yearly alumni entrepreneurial businesses that we have. And we also have a business expo. I am intending to have an annual business expo where yearly alumni showcase their products and what they are doing to investors and potential consumers. And I'm also thinking of doing a national civic engagement program, which will encompass the people that are in civic engagement and all other alumni who are interested in these issues that are of national interest. And I'm also looking at public participation for governance, where yearly has a very wide range asset with subject matter experts in different areas that can really assist our government in national and county levels to execute their plans through the public participation. So what I have been doing in yearly that portrays me as a leader, I have been actively engaged in the projects that we have had in yearly since joining, and it's important to note that I was in the online cohort, and this has been a marginalized cohort, given that we do not have the same kind of interaction and the same kind of experiences that people that actually went to the center got to get. So I have maximized the opportunities that I've gotten, and I was involved in YLTS too, where we presented the youth space program, which emerged among the top 3 programs in that YLTS towards the end. And then I have assisted other young aspiring leaders in applying into YALI, and I am happy to boast that I have experience of people that have actually gotten to YALI thanks to that. And I've also been engaged in American Spaces, in the American Spaces events that we have that are partnered with YALI. For example, the Youth for Impact project that they had a showcase there, and I was involved in it. And I was also in the KU International Youth Stakeholder Engagement Day on 28th.
Thank you, Frances.
All right. Thank you. But I've
say that. Okay. So, okay. Yes. Okay. I can see we are past our time. I can see we are past our time, but allow me, please, so that we can address some questions that have been asked in the Q&A, and then I will also give all the participants at least 1 minute to give their final statement, as we are geared towards the election in a few hours, actually. So I think the first question I will ask Fred Tunya. It's directed to Fred. There were allegations, Fred, that Fred siphoned 1.2 million from YALI to his company. We have waited for evidence. Can Kaberia give us the evidence? So this part of the question, part of it is addressed to Kaberia. And then Fred, could you tell us about this money and how true are these allegations? So probably, Fred, I will start with Kaberia. Kaberia, can you give us the evidence? Kindly just answer the question. Do you have the evidence or not? And if you have the evidence, can you give it to us? Power,
yes.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Zipporah. I'll take you back to our governance. I think Fred has been very soft-spoken in influencing people to think that whatever happens has to be countered with in an uncivilized way. So he has resorted into bringing people to ask questions without first doing their research. And I would like to refer you to the governance policies. I would like this to put the record that a whistleblowing is not the same as a criminal trial. It is in a criminal trial that one is required to produce evidence. In a whistleblowing, the respondent is the claimant is actually just supposed to give the information, and if the information is found to be true, it not to be true, it ends at that, because it does not lead to prosecution. In this case, I am the whistleblower. Yes, I have an act as a CBO specifically set up by an official without the consent of any member of the alumni. Freddie has confirmed that. Now, this has brought very many issues during this campaign period and whatnot, but for the evidence and for the clarification, Freddie has confirmed that he is operating a CBO, masquerading as an entity of the Yearly Alumni Association. That is not in doubt. What is in doubt is whether he has received the money. What is in doubt is whether is the issue of the money involved in the CBO. Freddie is on record saying that he has applied for the transformation fund for the secretariat.
So let me ask you, Patrick. Patrick, as you answer the question, let me ask you a question. Did Fred say that he, as a person, as an individual, has applied for that? Or did he say that he, together with the national team and the coordinators, applied for the transformation fund? And has it been on record that the CBO is his own CBO? And thirdly, I know that there was, as Fred was talking about the registration, he mentioned that the RLC already knows about the registration. He knows already on organization. And these I am basing in regards to your statement. As you answer that, please.
Yes, I think your voice went broken a bit, but I will try to answer where I can, because I think this is a question which has been in the public domain for a week. Yes, Fred has confirmed that in collusion with 3 of his partners, they became directors of a CBO. They have tried to align the CBO with the Yearly Alumni Association. As one of the members, I was not informed, I was not involved, and I currently am not a member of the CBO Freddie calls Young Changemakers. Let that go into record, that, and I'll never get involved in the operations of the CBO. As pertains to the fund, I think that is now the contentious question that I'm supposed to answer.
Okay, thank you so much, Kaberi.
I think allow me just in one sentence.
Yes,
in just one sentence to clarify the issue of the funding.
Power, can you give me a minute as you are talking about being the whistleblower? I am just wondering, does Yearly have a policy on whistleblowing? As I give you the 1 minute to wrap up in one sentence, your answer.
Yes, Yearly does not have a policy on whistleblowing. However, Yearly operates in a country with laws. Yearly operates in Kenya, where we use the local laws. By the way, Yearly operates on a guideline. It doesn't have laws. It cannot have laws that are binding. So even the whistleblowing, we base it on the national laws, where the whistleblower is supposed to merely give the information for the relevant authorities to act on. Now, coming to the issue of the funds, Freddie has planted people or has procured people to demand for evidence. I want to confirm to you that today you cannot go to the CBO's bank and request for a statement to bring us evidence. Let Freddie give us the statement of the CBO because it is operating as an entity of members, even if it is not. Now, lastly, so that is cleared, I want to confirm that I am running for this office, not because of the issue of Freddie or any other person, but I'm coming to offer my elaborate leadership because I've seen that is lacking. There is a lot of opacity, and we need to bring a lot of transparency in these operations of YALI, so that going forward, 10 years, 20 years, even beyond YALI, will not have these issues arising again. I want to clean YALI so that every member is confident that is operating in whatever we have been taught is what is practicing. I want to
thank you, Power. Thank you, Power, for that. So I'd like to invite, Fred. Fred, there has been allegations that you have siphoned 1.2 million. Could you kindly, and I can see you smiling, could you kindly give us clarity of the same, and so that the people can know, and that probably you can clear your name, or just generally give clarity of the 1.2 M, where it went, if there's somewhere it went to, if you took the money together with the other officials. Fred, it's your time.
All right. Thank you so much, Zipporah.
Zipporah.
Yes, David.
Kindly, maybe.
As David is trying to speak, I think, Zipporah, we did not come to clear Fred's name.
Just a very
we did not come.
Excuse me, through the moderator, it's a question that was asked by the participants in this meeting. So that is what we are trying to get clarification on.
Allowed to input into this because it seems to be a very contentious issue in this election.
Very good.
Francis, David, and Martha, kindly allow Fred to answer the question. And once he has answered the question, probably I'll give 30 seconds to the other contestants to give their input. Martha, I'll still do the same thing. So yes, Fred.
I don't know why they want the whistleblower to blow accusations, and I remain silent over it. I hope the whistleblower will be able to even show us the video. I don't know why, unless he's still whistleblowing, even in this debate, by not even showing his face, because some accusations you need to put a face to the voice and accusations. It is very clear that I have stated before that I will step down even tonight if there is tangible and credible evidence that Fred did siphon 1.2 million. Because they know this is not true, and they know where the chapter is funded by TF, the American money, they can simply write to the Americans through USAID and say, Fred siphoned this money. Like I have said, alumni are not fools. These are very intelligent leaders. They know when this is a propaganda and when this is a reality or a truth. Fact. I have asked my competitors to, because these are very strong allegations. My accuser is a very individual who can paint you in a bad picture, which amounts to defamation. Under the Defamation Act, it is provided that if someone accuses you, he or she provides an evidence before the accused provides a counter evidence. What has stopped my accuser from providing or tabling such evidence without making this a place where I become reactive and defend myself, which they have wanted me to do? I need to respond to this with facts. Number one, my competitors have clearly over and over again shown us that they do not even understand how an organization is running or run or operated. How can you request a junior staff to provide you with a report? Is it because Fred Tunya is in the race? I am in the role or in the docket of communications. My work is to provide, communicate, share with alumni reports which have arrived or which are within my desk. There is the chairperson who is directly responsible for accumulating all reports from each and every department. And then he comes to Fred Tunya and says, Fred, this is the entire report that we have. Pick this, use the alumni database, the emails and all the communications platform, and share this communication as a communication specialist. That has not happened. And the chairperson came out several and provided a clarity that even putting together reports need resources or need some time. Even calling or asking for reports need someone to prepare and combine. However, the reports that have reached my desk, I have provided them through a folder where there is proof of payment to alumni, suppliers, how much they were paid, who paid them, when they were paid, and what type of services they have provided within my jurisdiction as a communications officer. As I finished, the mistake that I have done is that I'm dreaming to be a chairperson just like any other alumni. So I'm the soft spot. I'm the only person who can be attacked with accusation and counter-accusation. They need to tell us that Fred provided the first report. We analyzed that report and we were convinced that these alumni were paid. Whoever supplied podcast equipment was paid. Whoever supplied Zoom services for the chapter was paid. Whoever supplies stationery was paid. And how much? I have provided that folder. I will provide it again tonight, a link to the folder with all receipts, with invoices, with proof of payment by Deloitte to these specific alumni suppliers. That is how TF works. But now, it is about 10,000 USD. In Kenya shillings, it could convert to about 1.2 million, depending with the inflation or the current exchange rate. This 1.2 million was applied specifically to address issues of secretariat funding. Secretariat funding is where alumni, through the chapter, can do mapping, can do a survey. Secretariat funding can offer airtime for office holders. Zipporah, because let me just finish, I hear you preparing your voice. Number two, that 1.2 million that Kaberia is aware of, that he has been pushing us to talk to the center so that this 1.2 million can be disbursed. And he is on record. We can share the emails. Our ethics and conduct, the ethical standards do not allow us to share private conversation with alumni. In his capacity as the self-appointed Yali coordinator, he has been pushing us to ask for the release of 1.2. But we tell him the process is overboard. We don't even influence how RLC, KU, and USAID works on that funding. It is not disbursed. When it is disbursed, alumni are always notified that there is a disbursement of a TF fund. The final point about this money, these accusers are forgetting to tell alumni that there is another 25,000 USD, about 2.5 million shillings, that was meant for the Youth Climate Change Summit. They do not want to acknowledge that even that money having not been disbursed, they have seen Fred doubling up and even going an extra mile and championing for partners to come on board to support a summit which has not been funded already. And we had a committee of these alumni who are in this climate change committee. I went out of my way to knock government offices, ministries.
Kindly wind up.
So the issue here is alumni need to know that there's no 1.2 million that Fred can siphon alone. How can Fred transfer 1.2 million to his own company alone in an organization that has signatories, which has the key and most important signatory is the chairperson who is elected by alumni? How is Fred so powerful to even assume the chairman?
Thank you Fred, for that. Thank you, Fred.
Plant other alumni to ask for evidence. Fred must be having a lot of money.
Thank you, Fred. Thank you, Fred, for that. Kindly allow me not to open the Pandora box. If we decide to start on the conversation of who took the money, where it went to, we are not going to finish this debate, and we have until 9 to finish the debate. So allow me to close it at that. The debate can still continue in the WhatsApp group. But then there's a question that I see specifically for Martha. The question is, Martha, you created a WhatsApp group for all the early alumni, handpicked an admin. Questions were raised and you were instructed by the moderator to change the name because it's a private group, but you refused. Is it that you do not respect the moderator and current office holders? If elected, is that how you are going to operate as the chair? Martha, the question is directed to you.
Thank you very much, Zipporah. First of all, there is no law or any guideline anywhere that one cannot form an informal group to run whatever civil thing you want to do. I can even come up and name a group, as Charles told us. I can name a group UDA in the WhatsApp group, and there is no anything against that. Secondly, it was a proactive step that I took. I was nominated and I was added to 4 groups that I needed to campaign to. I did not know who those members were. I was just added like that. So for me, I thought, and then there was so much disorganization in those groups. There were goons, people were saying there were goons, there were so many issues. So I was like, why not form one group for people to follow other people's manifesto, the contestants' manifesto? There's no problem with having a lobby groups. We have lobby groups in the whole world. We have activists in the whole world. There's nothing wrong with that. And that group has 260 members. I cannot wake up in the morning as Martha just because I started a group and rename it. Those people joined that group knowing it was called Yali Alumni Association. And because some people say that the group was meant for campaigns, I was privy to that. So I called the moderator himself and told him, I've started a group that I think would be helpful. It has over 200 members. Kindly adopt the group and use it for moderation and manifest if you want to. He told me he's going to talk to the leadership, the same leadership that is also vying. He never came back to me. So I just say, to make myself safe, I get myself out as an admin and let it be run by the other alumni. It is now being run by other alumni with clear group rules, guidelines. I do not use it for campaigning as people imagined. I did not use it for my own personal gains. So for those and the alumni that are there, the 260 of them know what they are doing. And I can assure you, the contestants that have used that group have their manifesto, at least they have been read. Those manifestos have been read. People have followed them. People have asked them questions. And the reason that contestants are there, they know they are comfortable there. The guidelines are clear. This election has been done without rules and guidelines. And I think if I'm the chairperson, I'll ensure that we do have those rules and guidelines before an election starts to avoid all this malice that is going around. Thank you.
Martha, there's a follow-up question on the same. Martha, there's actually a guideline on how groups should be formed and coordinated under the alumni handbook. Are you saying you have no idea what the book is? Have you familiarized yourself with it?
The group,
it's a follow-up question of what you were saying.
Thank you very much, Zipporah. The group is informal. Kindly put it in capital letters. It has nothing to do with forming an official group of Yali alumni. I have categorically mentioned several times, joining is voluntary. You do not have to join. The group is basically for people to share their manifestos, the contestants. For the people who are in the group to follow those manifestos, it is not an official group. If I wanted to form an official group, I would have written an email to the leadership, I would have written an email to LLC and requested them for a group. I will do that once I'm the chairperson to bring all people in under one roof. Right now, we are so divided. I don't know if it was by design or by default. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you for answering that. This is a question to Kaberia. Finally, when Fred carries the day as the chair, will Kaberia consider a handshake so that we can incorporate ideas and queries into an action plan for sustainable corrective actions for our foundation? Kaberia, kindly.
Thank you very much, Zipporah. Let me confirm to everyone that even as we are contestant in this, friends.
Yes, Fred. Fred, I don't know if it's me or, but I can't hear you. Is it just me?
We
can't hear him.
Yeah, Fred, we cannot hear you. Fred? Not Fred. Kaberia, I mean, Kaberia, we cannot hear you. We couldn't hear you at some point. Kindly start your statement.
Yes. Thank you, Zipporah. On record that Fred and I are very great friends. Actually, I don't know why many people even come to attack me or attack anyone else concerning the campaigns. Me and Fred know each other very well.
Zipporah?
Yes, Fred. I mean, Patrick Kaberia, I cannot hear you. I've lost you at some point.
Zipporah, can I interject? Zipporah, can I interject?
Kaberia, yes?
Yes.
John, you're saying something?
Yes, I wanted to interject because it seems, if we give more laxity of time on accusations and counter accusations, remember accusations and the laxity of response can influence the voters. Yet we are around 9 or 11 contestants. I cannot remember the last time Frances spoke. Yet Fred Tunya spoke for around 9 minutes trying to clear himself, and Power spoke for a number of minutes trying to put his point along. And I think we are also trying to beg just for a minute to give our manifesto.
Yeah, John, and I am heading to that. And I think you also came to my inbox and I told you that I will give you minutes fine after the end of the debate for every contestant. So kindly allow Patrick Kaberia to answer the question. And then after that, I will give each and every contestant to say one thing or to bring out their manifesto as the last thing as we wind up this debate. Patrick Kaberia, you are saying something.
Yeah, thank you, Zipporah. I was saying that this is a competition where me and Fred are facing each other, not as enemies, but as very good friends. For those who know us can confirm that me and Fred, even himself will confirm that we are very good friends. I have supported Fred since they entered the office, and even today, me and Fred are very good friends, and in the event I win this election, I will invite Fred to work with me, even to share ideas with me of what he has tried and why he has failed to deliver anything tangible on the Yali Alumni Association, which I personally helped him campaign for, and which even my supporters still ask me questions about. So let it be on record that in the event I win, I invite my friend, and in the event he wins, I will have no problem with him serving another term. Yet, I would like before because I might not get another opportunity also to interject or to ask this one. I would love, as far as the moderator, to also put this across that we are having 1,800 members who will vote. Fred has access to their emails. The 15 remaining of us are only having access to WhatsApp numbers, which only around 300 people are on active. This calls for a pertinent question to Fred, as my friend, as I have confirmed, to also look at the fairness of an election. That the 15 of us are not able to reach the whole constituency, which he has access to for the last 2 years, and is still an administrator in these groups moderating, which we don't have that right as the candidates. Thank you very much, Zipporah, for the moderation. And lastly, before I go off, I also want to put it on record that I am willing to work with all the candidates. For the record, all the candidates, because I plan to expand the executive so that we don't have one contestant position or 2 or 3 positions. Each one of us has ideas that they have to bring to Yali. I am going to domesticate this Yali structure so that we have the ordinary structure with the chairperson, 2 vice chairpersons, organizing secretary.
Thank you, Kaberia. Thank you, Kaberia. Thank you, Kaberia.
All those ideas for the benefit of our members and the Yali in the area of sustainability. Thank you very much.
Patrick Kaberia, thank you for that. And I think in terms of the issue of the members and everything, I think this is something I would not want us to go back and forth and then let people thinking that it's a point of clarity and it's now between something between Fred and Power. I think one of the things that was highlighted in the groups was on the issues of the data that Fred has, if I am not wrong. And probably it's something that he can clarify on the WhatsApp groups as we move forward because of time, but so that it's not also between Fred and Patrick Kaberia. I'd like to invite all the participants one by one to give their final remarks and kuomba kura as we wind up the debate. I'll start with, as they appear on my screen, I'll start with David, and then Martha, Frances, Diana, John, Patrick Kaberia, Fred Tunya, Dennis, and Kevin Okech. David, kindly go ahead and use 1 minute.
Zipporah, thank you for your moderation, but I stand on point of order. It's really out of order if we just restrict to 1 minute. Yet we have had a debate. We have had our colleague having a good time. Remember, we also, some of us...
David, can you hear me? If I were you, I would use... Yeah.
I second. It is not fair.
David, can you hear me?
It is not fair. I second him.
Zipporah, we have to be very clear, Zipporah, and I think this is just a moderation. The question
David, can you hear me?
Does not. Yes, I can hear you.
David, can you kindly listen to me? I want to make a statement as you continue. Kindly note the questions that David and Patrick Kaberia were asking. There were questions that were addressed in the group. Secondly, you also came in late for the debate as well as Francis. We are also working with time and I'm trying to accommodate all the participants. That is why even after this, I've allowed everyone to make a comment and tell the people what they would want without even making the limitations. So that is what I'm requesting you. Kindly, Francis, we're already past the 90-minute mark. So
yes, because you
may
gave
note,
accommodative time to some contestants to the disadvantage of others. Thank you, Zipporah. Please be fair.
David, kindly go ahead and make your statements.
Thank you so much. And as a leader, we are learned, or we are taught to really express some concern. So for me, I will go on record that when it comes to fairness, the end justifies the means. And by this, I mean, from the onset of our election, we have a template, we have a guideline manual that is not comprehensive. So my first assignment, just to address some of the things we have witnessed here, taken round, is to have a proactive constitution. I've also witnessed a scenario whereby the various committees are not empowered. I participated in the previous election. We made a serious recommendation that could not only strengthen the alumni, but also encourage in terms of recruitment, as something that was never a priority in our current regime. We acknowledge they did their best. And my lastly is this. I presented a scenario whereby we have an alumni, somebody who has gone through the yearly training, but has the gut and the energy to con honorable members. The same person is cleared to run, and simply because we have a system that is simply saying garbage in, garbage out, we have no checks and balance. So with me, I believe our first priority within the first 100 days is to have a proper structure that is so accommodative to our vision, and sensitive to the mission of every alumni. And on record, Zipporah, I know it's challenging moderating some of the debates, but in terms of questioning, even if the two questions were directed to these two great leaders, my fellow and worst competitors, you will have opened in such a way that we also have a room to give an input, because surely I felt I was never given a fair share. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you, David, for your input, and I've put that into consideration. Martha?
Thank you very much, Zipporah. Personally, as my parting shot, having listened to all our manifestos, there are several candidates right now vying for chairperson. We have the same vision, we have the same agenda. If we could come together and forward one candidate for this election, so that we don't have 17 candidates trying to do the same thing, agenda. Then after the elections, we sit down together as a team and finish all these issues that we are having, come up with new policies, come up with new structures, governance, especially accountability. We are having issues of funding. I was in our LTS committee because of issues of accountability within the governance structures. We need to come together, my fellow worthy competitors. Let's forward one candidate and then afterwards sit down and work for yearly alumni. We can do this. We are 1,800 as alumni, and they need to see something tangible. They need to see motivation, why they should even contribute to a yearly alumni chapter. They were very active initially, but right now the morale has gone down. We are less than 20%, 30%. Yeah, in fact, it's below 10% that are participating in activities. So guys, let's come together and let's work together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Martha. Francis?
Thank you, Zipporah. Aliye na macho hambiwi tazama, that's a Swahili saying. We have seen in this debate, it has been biased and some candidates have been given some favoritism, but we are not going to stop at that. The question we are asking is not a question of the kind of body that is registered by the previous regime. It is not whether it's a CBO or an organization or an association. That is not the question we're asking. The question we're asking is a question of accountability. And Fred trying to put himself in the middle of all this it's a sad cry for attention, and it's unnecessary. being a communications chair does not absolve him of the responsibilities of the mistakes that the previous regimes have made. And we are asking for accountability and transparency. We are not blind. And as he has said, Fred has said himself, the early alumni are not stupid. They're very intelligent people. And they can be able to gather from this that there's some inconsistencies and there's some harsh tones that are leading to the implication of unfairness and things happening behind the scenes that are not transparent to the alumni. And it is questionable that these things only come to the surface when we have an election. It does not make sense at all. So for me as chairperson, what I am proposing is to have transparency, absolute transparency in decision making. Not because when you are elected as executive, as chairperson, and the other leaders that are in the committee, it doesn't make you superior. It doesn't make your decisions better than the other alumni because they're all capable. It only gives you more responsibility of stewardship. And that is what I am proposing for. Transparent decision-making that involves all alumni with public participation and investment in the alumni that are in entrepreneurship tracks. That way we don't have to have standoffs about funding, who got funding and who did not get funding. And as I was researching about the yearly and the alumni, I came across information about the Young Changemakers organizations, which is the CBO that we are having the major standoff on. And as far as over 10 years ago, this organization has names that are consistently being placed with the yearly alumni organization. And all we want is clarity and answers. And what we are getting instead is people playing victim and acting like people are attacking them when they're actually asking just for accountability. So as yearly alumni leadership, I believe the next crop of leaders, we need to have a lot of accountability. And when we're making action, we need to involve yearly alumni. Everybody needs to be involved. Everybody needs to feel involved. And I believe it's Mother that has mentioned that yearly alumni were very vibrant in the beginning, but the vibrancy has gone down over the years. And these are some of the reasons. How do you get consistently involved when you feel that the system is already unfair, when you feel like there are some animals that are more equal than others? What we simply need is equality in leadership and transparency.
Frances, I've given you 3 minutes.
Thank you very much. I've utilized them and I've sold my manifesto and I've spoken what I needed.
Okay.
For. And thank you everyone that joined in.
Diana, kindly go ahead.
Thank you.
Diana?
Okay, on. Yeah. Thank you. It is evident from the WhatsApp discussion and even from this forum that the yearly alumni community has as a problem. It could be teething problems. It could be like amateur mistakes where the people at the leadership are not as professional or aware of the legal requirements, or I don't know how to put it, but there are mistakes that were made. And I believe choosing going forward, then we have to be sure of our leaders. What kind of leaders are you bringing to the table? What are their expertise and what will they be bringing? I'm promising to make the chapter more responsive, to make our chapter more inclusive, and also to make our individual and collective work as yearly and alumni more impactful. And for that reason, I believe I'm the best suited for this post, and I'm requesting for your vote when it comes to the chair of the yearly alumni. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Diana. Patrick, Power. Patrick, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Sipora. And for fairness, I would request that I allow my brothers probably to go first, if with your indulgence.
What I am doing, Patrick, I am using the names as they appear on my screen.
All right.
I'm using the names as they appear on my screen. So just go ahead, feel okay. They will also get a chance.
All right. Because I thank you very much. I am a very fair person. People have seen me like if I'm very competent, but it is because I am a very transparent person who demands that things be done the right way. To this effect, I am not going to sell my manifesto much because I have found that my manifesto, which I've shared extensively with my members, rhymes perfectly with the manifesto of my fellow leaders, contestants contesting for this position. I am therefore joining my sister, Mother Akinyi Atieno, in coming up and teaming up so that we don't put this yearly election as a contention of power, but a convergence of ideas. I am therefore joining Mother and my other contestants that we can still bring our ideas together and assist to move the yearly alumni forward. What I would like to do is to avoid a situation where 17 candidates contesting for a single position are treated to a situation where one candidate is probably, whether true or not, is declared the winner or not the winner, then we trust the 16 ideas or manifestos of the candidates. I am therefore joining Mother and fellow contestants in coming up and requesting our members to support us, to support one candidate and to sit down, all of us, have a consensus and work towards a sustainable structure of the Alumni Association that will allow each one of us to contribute to the Alumni Association. This will now remove the issue of having to contest for power. That is the position to serve, but to bring in, let us not ask ourselves what position are we getting in that government, but yes, but not, let us ask ourselves what we can do for yearly and not to focus very much on the position. I thank you very much, Zipporah, for the nice moderation, and I thank the members for participating and listening to our ideas keenly. We don't have the best ideas, but we have very simple ideas that can transform yearly to make it the biggest youth-focused organization in Kenya, in Africa, and in the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Patrick. Dennis Lubanga, and then Fred Tunya, and then John Mathenge. Dennis Lubanga, kindly go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much.
Dennis, I don't know if you're speaking.
Zipporah. First of all, let me apologize to our fellow alumni members who have been following this debate. Yes, kindly confirm. Can you hear me?
Okay, yes, I can hear. Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. To our fellow alumni, we are very sorry. Maybe this is not what you expected, but sometimes we always have heated debates. Secondly, I am here to offer the best alternative amongst my equals. I've talked of experienced leadership, talk of someone with vision, talk of someone who wants vibrancy, and then Dennis Lubanga is here to offer you this alternative. We want to have an alumni that has global outreach. We want to have an alumni chapter that is ahead of its competitors, or rather ahead of its peers in the region. Talk of other countries. Kenya should be the only chapter that is having that global reach. If you believe in me, kindly vote in me, and I'll make sure that we arrive at this. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis, for that. Fred Tunya, and then the final one will be John Mathenge.
Thank you so much, Zippy, for the opportunity to make my final remarks. It is also very important to, number one, appreciate and recognize the sacrifice that our alumni take to tune to this debate and independently, without bias or being influenced, present and make their points or ask questions. Listen, the time you have given these candidates tonight hasn't gone to waste. We are hugely appreciating your time, your effort, and your expertise in making sure that you get the right leaders. I'm a big student of Mufti. Mufti, for those who know him, really has a very, very important message that he shares. That life is not about competition, that we all shine in our own ways. Shining in our own ways means that we can do things uniquely in a way that no one else can do or perform. We need to appreciate the journey that we have taken. I beseech and ask fellow leaders that even as we seek positions of leadership, is it also possible to at least acknowledge that each and every day there is a progress made, whether it is not big, whether it is small, but there is some level of improvement. I just want to end my submission to alumni and everyone who made time for this debate by saying that you have seen my contestants. You have seen the level of emotions. Some are willing to tear one down completely. I have taken an opportunity to provide a clear and a more visionary understanding of innovative volunteerism. It goes beyond serving. It even robs you time with family. But we are determined to serve these alumni. And you have seen that even though I was a communications lead, I have sometimes in most occasions shown my professionalism. The future of Yali hugely depends on how we can innovatively transform our numbers to be at the very level we need to be. Given an opportunity, and I've not been the chairperson, I was just a communications lead. My dream, just like any other person's dream, is to have a triple effort in transforming this chapter. Let us make Yali the go-to youth association or foundation or organization in the region. This is only possible when we work together. And with respect I have shown to every alumni that I value each and everyone. With no insult, no discrimination, I am committed.
Fred, kindly wind up.
I am committed to take this chapter forward with respect to alumni, with professionalism, and to continue my track record that I have shown in the past 2 years. If you vote Fred Tunya, you vote character. If you vote Fred Tunya, you vote tolerance. If you vote Fred Tunya, you vote the next step.
Fred, can you wind up?
Thank you so much, and I appreciate your time all. Ladies and gentlemen, have a great evening.
Okay, and John Madenge, this is your time.
Thank you very much, Zipporah. There's a saying that says, whoever laughs last, laughs the best. And this could be my best opportunity to address Yali alumni on why I should be or why I am the best suited candidate to lead them for the next 2 years. One, I also reiterate the call for people coming together to forefront one person who carries Yali to the next level. But I reiterate that we should have a coalition of ideas and similar minds, not necessarily people. Now, reiterating on part of my manifesto, which I didn't have time to explain. Number one, what I shall do, it is to create an update database of all alumni in all departments and areas, being inclusive of people with disability, minorities, etc. And introduce a membership card to each and every alumni. And of course, we shall introduce an annual subscription fee. And that money will help us to come up with the investment. And on the second point of investment, I shall create investment projects that will ensure that YALI alumni is sustainable. For example, and I said once again, if we can have a healthcare facility, for example, named at YALI, somewhere in a slum, for example, which is a win-win situation between community and YALI, where we get some revenue. What if people working on mental issues here at YALI Alumni, we can have a rehabilitation center somewhere in Kakamega, for example. Then number 3 is formation of boards. These boards that will deal with numerous issues. For example, people in legal or law issues, they'll have a board dealing with things to do with legal, health issues, etc., etc. And it is in those boards that we shall be able to come up with the investment policies and projects. Then, of course, my third point is about creation of an innovation hub. I have really tried to go to KU to pitch my idea, but I can tell you several years back, I have never been able. So we create a hub, which will be our command center, not necessarily an office. For example, in outskirts of Nairobi, we can rent a very big house, like I work for SAPTA Kenya Red Cross, whereby we have a very big house where we have the innovation center there with our own compound, where an alumni from any part of Kenya can come spend some few days there, work on the idea, we provide meals and all that, and we will be able to grow together. Lastly, I'll finish with the creed that was mentioned or spoken by the initiator of YALI, the former president of United States of America. And he read the creed, which was sung by slaves when the boats rowed across Atlantic, when the workers and the slaves and immigrants sang this creed and said, yes, we can. And I reiterate the same and say, together, we shall begin the next great chapter in the YALI chapter with only 3 words that will ring from all counties in Kenya and regions and in the minds of all YALians. Yes, we can.
Thank you so much, John, for that. Thank you so much for every participant that has been part of this session. And thank you for the contestants that showed up and you are able to sell your manifestos to the people. And I'm grateful for that. As we wind up, I just want to wish all the contestants all the best as we are just a few hours or days towards the election. And for us as the YALI alumni, I hope that we are going to vote well, and also remember that there is life beyond YALI and we still need each other. And finally, as I finish, I think I'll just read one quote by Amit Ray that says, as more and more artificial intelligence is entering into the world, more and more emotional intelligence must enter into leadership. Thank you so much for that. And I wish you a blessed night and a blessed week ahead. Thank you. I think, Charles, people can leave at their own pleasure, or you can end the meeting.
Thank you. Good night.